Scott, you and I are excited for this one, man. Metal Gear Solid Delta's producer says, we're doing our best to create a modern-style Metal Gear, but the core design will remain unchanged. Rich Stanton, we're a PC gamer. Konami has hosted what it calls a, quote, production hotline, end quote, event featuring some of the key creatives behind Metal Gear Solid Master Collection and the upcoming Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. Hey, call all these things Hotline Konami. You can have the one for free. The key figure here is producer Noriaki Okamura, who's in charge of the company's attempts to revitalize the series, and a true Konami veteran who also worked with the old Kojima Productions throughout its lifespan. Okamura has seriously impressive history. Among other things, he was key to Police Knots and had senior roles on tons of Metal Gear games. He even got a, quote, special thanks, end quote, from Kojima in Metal Gear Solid's credits. So, Okamura spoke about Konami's hoping to do with Delta, what they're hoping to do with Delta, and the following is a machine translation of some of his remarks. Should Konami release an official English transcript, it'll get updated, but this is what we get, so be prepared. Quote, it is necessary to release a modern style Metal Gear for today's game users, rather than the Master Collection of Metal Gear Delta Snake Eater, but MGS should remain MGS. So we will change the graphics and operability, but leave the other scenarios, sounds, and game design unchanged. There's quite a sweet moment when a slide comes up about a development progress on Delta, which says, quote, we're doing well, end quote. Before Okamura chips in, we're doing our best, he says. The host asks how many of the original MGS3 team are working on Delta. Quote, not all of them, but many of them are still involved, end quote, which is nice to hear, Scott. Quote, some people are walking a new path. The number of people who don't know about Metal Gear is increasing. So I want to do something about the situation, and I think it's our mission for those of us who remain at Konami to preserve Metal Gear for future generations, end quote. Meanwhile, no less than David Hayter, the voice of Solid Snake and Big Boss in Metal Gear Solid 1 through 4, he has been bragging about playing the game itself. Quote, please don't tell anyone, ... But I played the opening of Metal Gear Solid Delta up to the bridge scene the other day, end quote. David Hayter said on X, dude, it's still Twitter, quote, it was spectacular, end quote. The hype behind this for me is at such a high. Part of me is nervous, part of me can't wait. Scott, where are you at with Metal Gear Solid Delta?
I'm really hoping it is spectacular, as he says. But the idea of bringing it to modern standards or for a modern audience, I'm not sure what that means yet. And that does have me a little bit worried because I guess I'm kind of a purist that way. I think the game was perfect the way it stands. But this, I understand we're remastering, we're making it new. It is a remake, not a remaster. So that's fine. Yeah. But I'm wondering, is Snake going to have a cell phone that he tosses away in the first 10 minutes? And that's kind of how it makes sense. But no, it's still going to be in 1960s. It's going to be in an interesting time. So I wonder, how do we make that look modern to today's audience?
I think that
without making it weird.
I think they stick with the core concept and gameplay mechanics of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, but they modernize it by giving us a different control scheme, right? And won't feel as dated, clunky from back in the day. Dude, you give that to my kids now, they're like, what is this? Right? Where at the time, it was like revolutionary, man. We're hiding in the weeds, and we're just doing this. It's all stealth, it's fantastic. We're putting on camo. Certain camo you find upgrades your camo gear, your head, your gear, like your suits, the whole... Dude, it's
You weren't Naked Snake?
No, I was not Naked Snake, dude. I was 99%. Because there's a percentage bar comes up top.
That's right.
It says, yeah, how well are you camoed, right? Within whatever you're blending into. And it is just what a game. But if they nail the controls for today's standard of control schemes, and then bring us into that Unreal Engine 5 update and modernize the graphics, dude, we got a Game of the Year contender here. It's happening,
Yeah.
right? Like I think that's where we're gonna take a look at it. Is this enough to put Konami back on the map after the whole breakup with Kojima? Because as we saw David Hayter's speech the other day, we covered it. Kojima not mentioned at all.
Yeah, it is strange,
right? So I understand they want to preserve the Metal Gear legacy. You know why? Because Konami right now is way behind, and the way they pull some of this back together is by putting out a Metal Gear Solid game, because it's one of their biggest IPs, right? Konami's got a long history of great games, but they've just been sitting dormant on them for a long time, and it made people just question, what are they doing? We even asked them just to give it over to like Blue Point, or just go like give your content away. Somebody come in, buy up the IPs from Konami, and no longer worry about your pachinko machines. But apparently now they're coming back in the game, so that's pretty exciting. But we'll see what happens if they can actually pull off Snake Eater's reimagined version of Delta. But man, from the
if they do, what's going to happen with a sequel? Are they going to bring Metal Gear back in a big way, try to continue it on? Can you do that without Kojima? My opinion is no, but are they going to try regardless?
I think,
and that could potentially sully the series.
Well,
it's one of those where I'm afraid of it being touched anymore. It's like Star Wars, just leave it alone.
I think what they've got is a long history to remaster in the first place. I think that's what they do first, and then 10 years from now, everybody who's worked on all these remakes will hopefully have the concept of what Kojima's head was thinking, making all of these Metal Gear Solid games, and then bring us something new at the I understand where you're coming from. I absolutely get it, because dude, Survive was not Metal Gear.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I'm afraid of.
Exactly. Nobody wants that situation. But they start with 3, and then they go back to 1, 2, skip over to 4, bring us 5. Like, you know how many years of production that it's going to be right now for Konami? Like, dude, we're not getting 5 for the next 10 years, if not longer, right? So they're going to remake all of these from the ground up, brand new again, to make it more modern graphically, and then gameplay wise, the whole series is getting a brand new retake and a remake on them all, dude. Because if you watch David Hayter's thing, we're only getting started. I'm like,
that was a very strong sentence.
This is just the beginning of the whole reboot franchise of Metal Gear. Guarantee it.
Oh, those have so much production that it's probably going to continue on longer than I'll be playing games.
Oh, I doubt that.
Probably not.